This is the Upstate Hoops Podcast. Recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com. Let's tip it off. Welcome, Finger Lakes basketball fans, to a Valentine's Day edition of the Upstate Hoops Podcast. It's Thursday, February 14th, 2013, and this is episode number 15 of Season 2, coming at you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls on the final night of the regular season in Section 5. I'm Jim Sinacropi, and as usual, I'm joined tonight by my co-host, Matt Verkey.
Hey, Jim, how we doing tonight?
Doing great. We have an awesome show on tap tonight. We've got Lyons coach Zac Young holding on the line to talk about Wednesday night's big win for the Lyons over Clyde-Savannah, giving them a share of the Wayne County League title. Have a short interview from Lyons sophomore Damon, who had a huge impact in the win at Clyde. We'll also hear from Penn big man, the president, James Burdette. I don't know if that's his name or not, but I decided that
that's what you went with.
That's what we're going to go with from here on out.
All right.
As Dave Barnick and Brendan Harrington spoke with him after the Mustangs win in Waterloo on Tuesday night. We'll give our players of the week, updated power rankings. It's time to start looking at sectionals, Verk, and much more.
Great.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Madej Miras and Ricky, your hometown personal injury attorneys. If you've been injured and deserve compensation, call the Finger Lakes Personal Injury Hotline at 315-568-0911. And also by Generations Bank, generations of service for over 140 years. Visit them online at mygenbank.com and check out their new mobile banking app in the iPhone or Android app stores. And Newark Pilots Baseball. Season ticket packages now available for the 2013 season at beautiful Colburn Park. Visit newarkpilots.com for more information. Well, Verk, last night we were up in Wayne County in Clyde in what my opinion is the greatest night in Wayne Finger Lakes high school basketball of the year.
Yeah, great atmosphere up in Clyde. Packed house, sold out, pre-sale tickets, and and the game. It was a great game. It was kind of not the greatest offensive game, but the intensity was high, and Lyons played great, and Clyde played pretty good, but Lyons was able to pull off the win. Yeah, and who better to talk with us about that game than Zac Young, who I believe is in his car back from a little scouting trip at Cal Mum. You with us, Zac?
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Good. Congratulations, Zac, on earning a share of the Wayne County title and gaining a tough road win last night to cap off your regular season.
Thank you.
47-35, not unlike the first time they met, Verk, a little low scoring. And right off the bat, Zac, talk about the atmosphere and what it's like as a coach bringing a Lions team into that gym, because it's unlike any other game. We webcast 11 games this season, and none of them, had the feel of last night. It was electric.
Yeah, it's fun. There's actually a little more room when we go to Clyde than there is when the game's in Lyons. The Lyons, like, everybody's right on top. At least in Clyde, you have a tad bit of room, but it's very unique. I've been to a lot of high school games, and even the games down in Livingston County that I was at, it was packed house tonight. But it's just a different atmosphere, and for the game to decide the league, it was pretty cool night.
Yeah, what game were you at tonight, Zac?
I went to Geneseo in York. And Geneseo won 47-46. It was pretty crazy ending. And then we had another guy scouting in Cal Mum, and Cal Mum beat Perry, so that kind of fills out our bracket. We kind of are pretty sure we're the 2 seed now, and we'll play, I believe, the winner of Cuba Rushford, and I'm not sure who the 10 is going to be. I think Cuba Rushford and Letchworth.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, I'm just looking at the standings now. If they don't move, they're the 7-10 game.
Yeah, Cal Mum should be the one. Geneseo, from what I've been told, wins the tiebreaker with York. But actually, they went overall. They got the 3 seed. And then York and Alexander get the 4-5 game, and Terry gets the 6.
What about Cuba Rushford? They knocked you out last year, correct, Zach?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They lost a lot of guys from last year, but their record's still pretty good. You know, I haven't seen them live. I do have one tape on them, but I know they have one of their better players back from last year.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Damon Hunter plays like he did last night in Clyde, you guys should be looking pretty good moving forward in sectionals. Just a sophomore, he knocked down 4 threes. Probably, along with Devin Veeder, the most composed players on your team against a lot of pressure from Clyde, who was bringing a lot of full court pressure, and of course the atmosphere would tend for a young man to be a little uneasy and commit some turnovers. But I was really, really impressed with Damon Hunter last night.
Yeah, he's very comfortable with the ball in his hands, and he's not afraid of the moment. I remember the first game he came up on varsity, I think he had 6 shots within about 4 minutes. So, they weren't really bad shots either. I was just like, the kid's he's not afraid. He wasn't afraid of the moment, and, that was his first time on the big stage of the Clyde-Lyons game, and he was definitely, the first half, I think he had 9 of our 16. So that's pretty impressive to do in your first Lions side game.
And they were important points too, because early on neither team was really scoring, and a lot of that probably has to do with nerves and being hyped up. So his early contributions really kept you in the game early, because it was Lions that jumped out to a little bit of a lead, or Clyde a little bit of a lead early on. Burke, if I remember.
Yeah, and just looking at Damon, he doesn't. He looks young. He just looks like a kid who. He's not very mature looking, but when he gets the ball in his hands, not only does he shoot, but I was impressed with the way he's able to get by his man and get to the hole. I think he has the ability to be a great scorer for you guys. We talked about it a little bit last night, but then moving on throughout the game, I thought Devin's 2 threes, that was great for him. Being a 4th-year senior to knock down 2 big threes like that, and you got a little excited after one of them, Zach.
That's right. Turned to the crowd.
A little excited. I just thought. Watching the game, Devin struggled the first game, first 5, and they had him scouted pretty good. They didn't really help off him at all. And then I told him at the end of the third quarter, I said, listen, if you make a 3, we're going to win the game. I said you just got to keep shooting. I said, if you make a 3, we're going to win. And he made 2, so that made it a little easier because he had a couple good looks that he normally knocks down, and he had a couple that were in and out.
Yeah, he did. He had. That's what
that one he hit to put us up 6, gives a little breathing room, and it was a nice moment for him.
It was, and like you said, he had a couple go in and out, and I thought he gave up maybe 1 or 2 looks, and then it was nice to see him knock down those 2 big shots. And you were up in the dog pound after one of them almost over there.
That's tough when you got Walt there screaming right in your ear during the game. You're almost with the fans. Yeah, I got maybe a little too overexcited, but it is what it is.
And, I thought another key for you guys, I thought your man-to-man defense was really, really good. When they did go, the few times they actually did get the ball inside, you had the help side there a lot, and they really, looking at the teams, they're just so much bigger than you, and I didn't think they really exposed that. Just, a lot of it had to do, I thought, with your guys, your man-to-man pressure. You did some of that half-court trapping and stuff like that, but your defense was really good all night long, I thought.
Yeah, and between Bogans and DeSanto, you're right, Verk, huge size disparity. Both those guys taller than Trey Johnson, who's probably Zach's tallest player.
Yeah.
And so we're watching the game, Zach. We're watching warm-ups here, and how we do here on the old podcast, try to kind of handicap it. And we both had last night as an upset, coming into their court after they beat you on yours, and again that size advantage. But go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, I think the half-court trap early paid us some dividends. I don't know how much it really affected them in the second half. I thought they adjusted pretty well at halftime, but even just to give them, even if they get it over, it takes 10 or 15 seconds for them to get kind of set into what they want to do. And, like I said, we just tried to front and, make them throw it over us, and our help side was pretty good. And I just think since we lost that game at Newark, we played a little higher level of competition to challenge ourselves, and I think it's been really good for us. We responded well. We played really well at Gananda, and Williamson, we pretty much dominated that game from the beginning to the end with a team that was beating us at halftime at their place. So, hopefully, sometimes, you don't really like to lose, but sometimes a loss can kind of refocus you, and I think it really has on the rebounding end and on the defensive end.
You also played Williamson on Monday night at home and handled them 70-38, a bigger margin than the first time you met. That was so a great way to, to come into the Wayne County title, share the Wayne County title with Clyde, to beat Williamson, who handed you your lone regular season loss last year, and then come back 2 nights later and win at Clyde. So, congratulations, Zach, again on the Wayne County title and the win last night, and good luck the rest of the way in sectionals. We'll let you go so you can concentrate on driving, and thanks a lot, Zach, for coming on. We really appreciate every time that you call in or give us the game updates. We'll be talking to you again soon.
All right. Anybody know the newer final score by any chance?
I was trying to find out, but I haven't heard.
All right.
If you hear, shoot me a text.
All right.
All right, Zach. See ya.
All right, Zach. Night. Yeah, there you go, Zac Young. He's on the show. We talked about it. He's been on the show so much, and we haven't had Tim Jackson yet for Clyde.
Yeah.
But we've of course had Cam DeSanto and
sure.
Canale. I think Patrick Harper was up here last year.
Tim actually lives in Rochester, so to have him come all the way down here kind of be a little ridiculous. But maybe we can get him to call in one of these times. And obviously Zach, he's a personal friend of both of ours, so it's a little easier to get in touch with him. But just congratulations again. Just really
to both teams on the title.
Both teams on the title, and Clyde's kind of getting overshadowed here, but they had obviously an incredible year. Probably a little bit disappointed to share that title that they thought was going to be theirs with their arch rival, and obviously a huge rival. But Clyde had a great year, and they really need to get it back together quickly here because now it's sectional time. And, they're obviously – I think they're – of any of the teams that we cover, I think Clyde is the most favored to win their class. I think they're that good, and I think their class is kind of weak from what I can tell from some of the scores. We saw Naples play, and Naples is a good team. They're fundamentally sound. They play good defense, but they're not nearly as big as Clyde and not nearly as athletic as Clyde is. This is a Clyde team that beat up on Red Jacket by 60, 70 points, and you never know. But I think Clyde's Coach Jackson. Not that they didn't play horrible against Lyons. Just Lyons was able to get out there in the second half. They got some transition points, hit some shots, and was able to win. And Canale was banged up, and I think that had something to do with the loss also. Yeah, and. Wouldn't that be neat in Class C3 to have Naples, Clyde-Savannah match up the Wayne County against the FL East champion Big Green Machine from Naples, and then of course in Lyons, we talked with Zach. They got a potential rematch with Cuba Rushford coming up, and Lyons is another team with a really good chance to win that class in C2. That C2's got a lot of teams with good records. I don't know how good all the leagues were and how strong everybody is, but. Lyons is right in there with all those teams, maybe 4 or 5 teams that can win that class. I think the dream for the Upstate Hoops podcast would be Minders in C1, Lyons in C2, and Clyde in C3.
Clyde or Naples,
yeah, Clyde or Naples, and then we could
Can't
see them all
forget old Brendan Harrington.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well,
but,
it was.
We'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, that's the next couple of weeks are going to be great, and. I mentioned Damon Hunter. He did a little post-game interview after the game last night, and we'd like to play that for you quick. It's a short one. I think it's about a couple minutes long, but here's what Damon Hunter of Lyons had to say after that big win last night.
Happy to have with us the sophomore from Lyons, New York, Damon Hunter. Damon, first of all, congratulations. Great victory to secure half the league title with your arch rivals from Clyde. What was the difference tonight?
Well, we just tried to go out and go as hard as we could. We lost by 8 last time, so we had to come through and play defense.
Well, defense, both teams, for a while I thought the first team who hit 20 points might win this game. Nobody could seem to get going earlier. Do you think everybody was so amped up so much it was just hard to get started?
Yeah, it's just trying to do what you got to do, but it's all about the team.
Well, let me ask you, Damon, you hit that first three-pointer. And that ball bounced up, around, on, over the rim, and through. Was that a confidence booster? Because after that, you went on to hit 3 more threes and finished with, 12, 14, 16, 17 points.
Well, I wish it would have just went in, but it does what it has to do.
Tell me what has led to the success of your team this year. The leadership of the seniors, the coaching efforts. What do you attribute the efforts of the victories and the success to?
Well, I have to do what I have to do. I'm not a starter, so I have to play hard for my team.
Well, we wish you luck. How do the sectionals look to you guys coming up?
Well, we have to go through there with a good head, and we have to win it all.
Well, the folks from Lyons will look forward to seeing you the rest of this season and a couple more thereafter.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Congratulations to you and the entire Lyons ball club.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. That is Damon Hunter, one of our stars of the game tonight for the Lyons.
Thanks.
And there you go, Damon Hunter, just a sophomore, composed. Bitter taste, I think, for the Clyde fans having to leave with the loss last night, and a sophomore was a big part. A sophomore and a senior. Not that a lot of people contributed for Lyons, but I thought that Veter's 2 threes and Hunter's overall play.
Yeah, Hunter gave him some points when they were really struggling to score, and he's the only one really to knock down a jumper early on, and he just gave Lyons some momentum, and they just took it and went with it.
Real quick before we move on to the scores, Honeoye, it's official. They're not going to compete in sectionals. So what do you think, Verk? They're going to shift all the other teams up, or are they going to give somebody a bye?
They're just taken out, and they recalculate everything. They're not giving the teams they forfeited against aren't getting any sectional points for those wins because Honeoye's not playing in sectional, so they didn't think it was fair to award them sectional points.
What about what about the games that were actually played?
Yes, I believe all the games they actually played are counting, but the games that were forfeited will not count towards sectional points.
Gotcha.
That was my understanding. That makes things a little bit different in that class. Obviously, you don't have to go against Ben Kratzley, one of the best players in the area.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll be going to hear real quick from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back with the scores from the week.
Attention Finger Lakes residents, have you been injured and deserve compensation? Call Madej, Maris, and Ricky, your hometown personal injury attorneys. Your case deserves personal attention. At Madej, Maris, and Ricky, they know you by name, not just a number on a folder. Call the Finger Lakes Personal Injury Hotline at 315-568-0911. That's 315-568-0911. Madej, Maris, and Ricky, your hometown personal injury attorneys.
The Newark Pilots. See tomorrow's Major League stars today. For more information, go to newarkpilots.com.
The most valuable things are always passed down from generation to generation. It's true for your family, and it's true for our bank. For more than 140 years at Generations Bank, we've greeted you by name, planned with you for the future, and stood by you when you needed a hand. It's what we do, and what we'll continue to do for generations into the future. We might look different now, but in the important ways, we're exactly like we've always been. Stop in your local branch or go to mygenbank.com.
So many sights to see on the internet, but for everything local, there's no place you can get it. At fingerlakes1.com. Come on over to fingerlakes1.com. Make us your homepage. News, weather, sports, and fun. Log on to Fingerlakes1.
www.fingerlakes1.com.
And welcome back to the Upstate Hoops podcast. Rather kind of a light week in Section 5 with a lot of games getting rescheduled because of Winter Storm Nemo last Friday night that rolled through. But we're going to quickly run through the results. A few games of significance, including last night's game, obviously, in Clyde. Going back to Saturday in the Finger Lakes East, it was Geneva 90 over Mid Lakes 38. Jordan Donahue had 17. Shane Sweeney had 19. And I think that was the game that officially clinched it for Geneva.
Yeah, it was. That officially, because they're up 2 with one game to play.
Yep, so
tonight's game against Wayne.
Yep, Finger Lakes East champs. And I think Geneva also played Newark, too, this week in the East. And that was, I'm trying to look at my notes here. Huh.
What's that?
Didn't Geneva play Newark this week?
Yeah. It's right here. Geneva 56, Newark 56, Geneva 64.
Oh, there you go.
Jamie Rosser had 15, Mika Wright 14 for Newark, and Geneva.
That was the game that clinched the outright title.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that? I thought that's the game you were talking about. Junior Sims had 13. Shane Sweeney had 23 points and 12 rebounds.
12 rebounds. Nice way to go out for Shane Sweeney. So congratulations to Brian Miller and his Panthers. What kind of chance you think they got in Class A, Verk, when you know they just lost to Aquinas?
They got a good chance. I mean, they played Aquinas. It was a game they were up 9 at halftime, and they end up losing by a couple. But I'm not sure how exactly that's all going to play out there. But right now, as of tonight, Charlotte was the 1, Geneva 2, Aquinas 3, and Wayne 4. And you're going to see some version of that. I think Wayne's going to be the 4. Not sure Geneva and Aquinas could flop, but take any of those 4 teams. I think those guys are gonna. I think those are going to be the semis matchups. Geneva already knows they can play with Aquinas. I think that opened up some eyes because sometimes these city schools don't think the Finger Lakes might be weak or something like that. Even though the Finger Lakes has the most sectional championships ever. But not typically in Class A.
Right.
They kind of struggled up that way, and it's been a while for Geneva. But Geneva has a legit shot. It's not going to be easy. I think of all the teams we cover, they probably have the toughest road to go because they're going to have to be an Aquinas, and then either a Charlotte or Wayne. They've handled Wayne once, and we'll see
tonight.
We'll see how they do tonight.
Hoping we can get an
update. They got a shot. It's not going to be easy though.
Right. Wayne was in action on Saturday night, beating Pell Mac 78-55 at Pell Mac. Ben Bobo had 22, Trey Lamore had 24, Mitchell Chris 27 for Pell Mac in the loss. And Newark, in addition to that Geneva game, hosted Marcus Whitman, and they came out with a 68-40 win. Micah Wright 12, Phil Tack 12, Tyler Collins 10, and for Marcus Whitman, Tyler Rohrback with 18. And the only other game involving an East team, or actually that's not true, Waterloo beat Romulus South Seneca in a crossover, 81-37. Thomas France had 13, Bradley Steinruck had 17, Jonathan Jones had 15, and Jones just a sophomore. Verk, we saw these guys against Penn earlier this week on Tuesday for the webcast, and with Nick Stenberg, freshman, contributed now, and Jonathan Jones, the sophomore. I think that the rebuilding process in Waterloo with Jeff Panic is coming kind of to fruition. They
got some nice young pieces. Mateo is also a freshman who starts for him, so they're starting 2 freshmen and a sophomore. And these kids got to get better, though. If they don't improve, then Waterloo's not going to improve. They got some good young pieces, but just because they're starting as freshmen and sophomores doesn't mean it translates to success.
We'll see how good they are when they come back next November.
That's right.
How much they've improved.
Those kids got to get better and hope they haven't hit their ceiling. And you just can't say, oh, they got a bunch of young kids that are going to be good, because they're not very good now. But I think that score also shows the strength of the Finger Lakes East. A 3-13 Waterloo team, goes in and hammers Romulus South Seneca by 50 points.
Yeah, and speaking of Waterloo, Penn Yan comes into Waterloo. We were hoping, since we were webcasting that game, to see a close game. It didn't really turn out that way. Penn Yan 66, Waterloo 34. But we got a nice look at James Burdette. That he's going to Albany D1 in lacrosse.
Yeah, and from talking to some of the local people, he's a big time lacrosse player. Obviously, going Division I, and he's a very good basketball player as well. And I haven't got the chance to see him play this year, but heard nothing but good things about him.
And Shane Bloom had 19 in the game. He was hot shooter from outside, but I think it was Burdette that really kind of dominated that one. And we got a quick post game interview with Burdette. He was with Dave Barnick and Brendan Harrington after the game on Tuesday night in Waterloo. So here you go. Here's the president.
Joined now by the big man for Penn Yan, James Burdette. 14 points tonight, doing most of his damage in the first half with 12. And first of all, congratulations on the win, James.
much.
Another double-digit performance for you. You've been doing that with regularity this time as your 12th game in double-digit scoring this year. And first of all, I talked with Coach Hollister earlier today, and you've been there since your freshman year, his first season, and this team has steadily improved during your career. Talk a little bit about what it's been like, that journey since being a freshman now all the way up to being a senior.
It's definitely been a good progression. I mean, going through the tough times at the start and then just getting better and better every single year. I think, each year we've got more wins, and we're finally in a place where we're fighting for a home game for sectionals. So that's nice.
You look back at this year, and that first game of the year certainly set the tone, because I think a lot of people were looking through the scores from that first night of games, and they saw 61-51 Penn Yan over Newark, and some people said, wow, Penn Yan. Talk a little bit about what that win did for your team to start the year.
I mean, that was awesome, and I got to give props to Coach. He got us prepared. I mean, full scouting report. We were ready. I mean, he got us pumped up before the game, and we knew we had to set the tone early in the year, and that's exactly what we went out and did.
Well, Jim, first of all, were you afraid in the second half that foul on you was going to be called a flagrant foul?
I mean,
you would have had to have been vaporized.
Right.
I mean, you were a statue there.
We felt for you, man. We felt for you.
It livened the place up.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask the same questions that Brendan had actually asked about the progress. So, as a team now, how important would it be for you to finish 500 and then head into sectionals, and how confident does your team feel as you've progressed through the years, and this year in particular?
I think it's huge for our team. I mean, just thinking about it's really like seeing the work that we've put in all throughout high school, and then it's finally coming together. And I mean, I think it would go back to my 8th grade year when we went to sectional finals, since we've been a relevant team, and it would be awesome just to make a run in sectionals. So,
and it would have been easy for you, as well as some of your teammates, probably to give up. You had a year where you didn't win a game, and then the next year only 4, and that has to feel very satisfying.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to finally see the work paying off.
Yeah, and for a guy like you, too, that's had success on the lacrosse field, obviously, with the Penn Yan lacrosse team, one of the best programs in Section 5 and in New York State, it's got to feel good to see that hard work pay off in basketball as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the correlation between the sports is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talk a little bit about that. In what way? What similarities do you see?
Like the defensive rotations.
Yeah.
I mean, as a defensive guy myself, it's very similar, and just like the ball movement, it's all the concepts that are important
Zone
in lacrosse.
Versus man-to-man, helping off of a defender, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've always thought it kind of I never played lacrosse. I've always seen it as a combination of hockey and basketball.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's probably a good way to look at it.
Well, talk a little bit about what will be the next stage for you. You have a Division I lacrosse scholarship at Albany. You're going to go, you and Sean Sweeney, Shane Sweeney going to ride together or what?
I mean, we'll see. And I think I heard Colin Cooper was transferring there, too, so that'll be cool.
The whole Section 5 contingent.
Yeah.
And I got to think, just from listening to you, James, I think your interview is as impressive as you're playing the court. Pretty
thank
fair
you very
student.
much.
I imagine you're a pretty fair student.
Yeah, I definitely. My family's got some importance in the classroom too. So.
Yeah, are you stocking up on Great Dane's paraphernalia already?
I'm trying. Yeah.
Outstanding. One quick question about the team too before we let you go. I wanted to talk about a teammate of yours. Talking with Coach Hollister today, said Shane Bloom had kind of been in a shooting slump. How important was it for him to have a game like this today where he got it going from three-point land and moving ahead into sectionals?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's going to be huge for us just moving forward. And, I mean, I think sectionals is all about getting hot at the right time. So, I mean, Shane's on, the whole team's on. We could definitely make a run here. All
right, one more question about that foul you got called for standing still. Did you actually feel Jonathan Jones run into you? Because you didn't flinch.
I don't know. I mean, the ref said I wasn't in a defensive position or something. I don't know.
Well, it did liven things up for everybody. Your fans, it gave them something to complain about. And although when a game is lopsided like this, as I had mentioned, it's more difficult to officiate in some ways.
Yeah,
too.
No, definitely.
The funny thing is, James, that when I talked with Coach Hollister earlier today, he actually brought up how you never get the benefit of the doubt with the officials, and they tend to pick on you a little bit. And I certainly believe him now.
But that may even up when sectional play begins.
Definitely.
So let's hope so for the sake of yourself and your Penn Yan Mustangs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations, James. A great year for you individually and your team as well, and a nice win tonight.
Thank you
best of luck
Thanks
at
a
the
lot.
Sectionals.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us, and good luck.
Well, there you have it, Verk. The president, James Burdette. He was a force. Again, granted, Waterloo's a smaller team, but, I like what I saw at Penn Yan in that game. They move the ball well. They have 6 or 7 guys that are solid contributors, and Burdette's solid inside. I mean, he's just solid in terms of size. You're not going to move him around.
So, having seen them both play, do you think Penn Yan has a shot if they come up against Newark in the B2?
Not the way Newark's playing now.
No.
Yeah. Well. Although we do have a quick update.
Newark handed it to him pretty good the second time.
Penn Yan beat him the first time. No, they can if they share the ball and obviously play a great defensive game. That I think they can hang with Newark. I think it would have to be a lower scoring game. But we got news from some games tonight in the East. Minders Newark result, Verk?
Yeah, the unofficial score, but my buddy Jerry Anderson, who played with me in high school, sent me a text saying they won 58-40, and that Jimmy Rickey had a big game, hit 5, 6, 7 threes. He wasn't exactly sure,
nice.
And Ruddy had a nice game, and Liam Careher came off the bench for Minders and hit 3 threes. So it sounds like between Careher and Rickey, they combined for 10 threes. That would be 30 of their 58 points right there, and so a nice win for Minders. I really thought they'd have a lot of trouble going into Newark after the way Newark's been playing really well, and Minders is back playing great again too. Also, they kind of stumbled there where they kind of got blown out back to back by Wayne and Geneva, which obviously they're good teams, but
yeah. Well, and as a matter of fact, Verk, Minders has been playing better since we last saw him against Wayne. But they haven't really been tested until tonight with some top tier talent, to the type of talent that they'll face in a sectional final game.
I think they're on a collision course with Batavia Notre Dame, and that's gonna be a great matchup if that plays out that way in Class C1. Batavia Notre Dame's dominated Class D over the past 10 years, and the Section 5 moved them up. So great matchup if that plays out. Two very well-coached teams with some good athletes, and that should be interesting.
Yeah, Luke Ruddy's been playing phenomenal.
Yeah, he's been scoring a lot. He always rebounds the ball well.
Doubles.
And, when he's able to get loose inside. And he is a mismatch against Newark. They don't really have that big, they got some good athletes, but they don't have anybody over 6'2", 6'3". Yeah. And, Luke's coming in at 6'5" now and been doing a great job lately. And
the backcourt of Passalacqua and Rickey playing well. I think they've been overshadowed a little bit with the Geneva backcourt and the Wayne backcourt that we've talked about a lot this year. But this is a senior campaign for both of them. It's good to hear Jimmy Rickey shooting the ball well.
Yeah, he kind of went. He was really lighting it up early, then kind of slumped off there. Halfway through the season. But he's got to be feeling good heading into the sectionals right now.
Well, let's take a quick look at the Finger Lakes West, where the Naples Big Green wins their first Finger Lakes West league title since the Eisenhower administration, and I think that's a fact. It's been a long time since the 50s. They may have won.
I think they won. I think I saw that they won a title in like '88.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a league title. I believe I saw that. I don't want to ruin your thunder there, Jim, but I think they did win one in '88.
Well, we'll figure that out and come back with the right answer next week on that. But they came up with a big win over Dundee on Saturday to clinch things, and of course the Honeoye withdrawal, I guess, kind of handed it to them. Bloomfield did have a chance, but in the end of the day, it's Naples. Congratulations to the Big Green Machine. And also Les Miller's Dundee Scots have a good shot going forward in sectionals. I think they're in Clyde's C3, right? Dundee's a C3.
Dundee is a C3, yes.
Yeah, they beat Red Jacket 62-41 on Tuesday. Justin Brace, 11. John Huber, 15. Andrew Clark and Axel Jensen 9 apiece. So, Les Miller's Scots finish at 10-7, and possible sleeper in C3. That's all I'm going to say. Possible sleeper in C3. although Naples did beat them pretty good on Saturday. Moving on to the Wayne County League, Verk, we already talked about it extensively. It came down to last night. Lyons beats Clyde to share a half of that Wayne County title. Also, Clyde was in action Saturday against Gananda, beat them 66-44. Tom Canale had 17 points and 8 rebounds. Jermaine Bogan, 11. Patrick Harper, 10. Cam DeSanto, 10 points, 5 blocks. North Rose Wolcott edged East Rochester at ER, 59-58 on Monday night. Chris Dean, 17 points. Jake Stevenson, 18. So that's a pretty big win for North Rose Wolcott, who is, I think that one even both teams up at 8-8 on the year. So everybody, when you're sitting there at a game under 500 or at 500, you want to get over 500. You want to get back to 500 at the end of the season. You want to have a winning season. Well, two teams that aren't going to have a winning season, Verk and Wayne County. Red Creek 57, Sodas 26 on Monday. Red Creek 3-14 after that one, and Sodas 0-16. Gananda also beat East Rochester 48-46 on Wednesday. And North Rose Wolcott played again on Wednesday and beat Sodas 74-24 to put North Rose Wolcott at 9-8, one game over 500. Vince Salerno had 11 points, and Alex Sutton had 14 points and 9 rebounds. So,
just on a side note, too, I think with that win over Newark, Minders will secure the 2 seed and get a bye, which is nice. Because before they're looking at a Romeo South Seneca or Sodas coming over.
I don't think that does them any good.
No, so they can get out and get some rest and scout up these other teams and get ready for sectionals.
Real quick, Verk, we got a Geneva score.
Geneva score, yeah. Geneva
Wayne.
I don't have the score. I know Geneva won.
Panthers won.
Panthers won, and that's just some of the kids were on Twitter talking about their undefeated season, and so it looks like Geneva won and secured their. They had the league title already, but I'm sure they didn't want to lose, heading into the sectionals and drop on the Wayne. So.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, congratulations to the Panthers on an undefeated Finger Lakes East season, which is incredible. Really, it's Minders has done it the past couple of years. We saw Geneva for the first time when they played Minders in the second week of the season, and I didn't think at that first look that they were the type of team that was going to go undefeated. I thought they were definitely contenders for the title, but they continued to get better. They got through some periods in the season when they had to not play with a couple guys.
Yeah, they overcame some adversity. They, like you said, they had some guys out, but the Finger Lakes East is tough. They had to beat Newark twice, Minders twice, Wayne twice, and they were able to do that. And congratulations to them. I believe it's their first league title since 2006. So it's been a little while for them, and they should enjoy that and cherish that and get ready for sectionals because that's the big one. Everybody wants to win that sectional title.
Yep, that's what you remember. So moving ahead to our Section 5 Players of the Week. This is going to be our last edition, Verk, of our Section 5 Players of the Week. Do it only for the regular season, I think, because during sectional play it kind of gets thinned out a little bit as you move on. And
right.
So this is the last chance to win a FingerLakes1.com T-shirt. If you win, email us at upstatehoops@fingerlakes1.com with your T-shirt size and mailing address, and guess what? About 4 or 5 days, you'll receive one of these in the mail. But only Section 5 Players of the Week eligible. So this week, Verk, I'm going with Luke Ruddy of Minders. He had 24 points, 15 rebounds versus Mid-Lakes, 27 points versus Penn. He's only a junior, and what he's done this whole second half of this season, statistically, has been pretty incredible. And I believe, Verk, that he's cinched the scoring title in the Finger Lakes East.
Yeah, I believe he did. I think him and Sweeney were really close, 18, 19 points a game. And Luke's been, I don't know what he did tonight, obviously, and what Sweeney did, so that could change it a little bit. But I think Luke had a pretty sizable advantage going into tonight. Not that, it's a nice thing that, lead the league in scoring or whatever.
Especially when you're a junior,
Yeah.
So coming back next year, when we sit back here next October and November, and we start previewing Minders, Luke Ruddy's a great guy to have coming back for your senior year.
And sure, and Minders traditionally has had some big scorers throughout that have led the Finger Lakes in scoring, and so it's nice to see if Luke does do that. It's a great accomplishment.
And so congratulations, Luke. And Verk, who you got?
I got the sophomore from Lyons, Damon Hunter. We talked about him earlier, but just based on the Clyde game alone, I thought he deserved it. Just came into a Clyde team that was undefeated in the league, and he really played well and under control and scored 17 points. So I had to go with Damon Hunter for my Section 5 Player of the Week.
I got a quick text from Coach Brian Miller when I was fishing for that Geneva score. He says, I told him congrats on the undefeated season. He says, thanks. He goes, now the real fun begins. Won't be easy at all.
No, sure won't. They got their work cut out for them, but I like their chances in that class. And, we got Geneva and Wayne, two teams that we both covered. So, hopefully one of them will be in the final. Maybe the way things play out, maybe both of them can be there, but we'll see how that all works out.
Well, also, Verk, our last top 5. No, don't get any ideas. This isn't our last show. We got a lot of we probably have, 3-4 shows left here until we ride out sectionals. And but this is going to be our final top 5 power rankings for the regular season, and mine's finishing up with Lyons at 5. Got to move them ahead of Clyde, just because it just happened last night, and they beat them in their house. So I got Lyons at 5, Clyde dropping right out of my top 5. Newark at 4, although after learning that result tonight, I am tempted to move Clyde in. But Lyons 5, Newark 4, Minders 3, playing better, as good as they have all year. Wayne 2, Geneva 1.
Yeah, I got the exact same thing. I don't really see how it could be any other way right now. Maybe Clyde has a gripe.
Maybe Naples has a gripe.
Yeah, maybe they do based on the record and stuff.
We'll find out here.
We'll see if Clyde and Naples meet up. That would be a great matchup to see. But and Clyde might have a gripe in that how hurt was Canale and how big of an effect did that have on that game. But you got to give Lyons all the credit, and then, followed by Newark.
We got to mention, too, Verk, Lyons was shorthanded, too. They lost Mussolino for the season.
No doubt. And they came back with, no doubt. But I'll go with Lyons 5, Newark 4, Minders 3, Wayne 2, Geneva 1. And I thought if Newark beat Minders tonight, I would have flip-flopped them. But Minders handled them pretty easily. So, Minders swept the season series with Newark, so you got to have them 3.
Well, taking a quick look at the week ahead, we got sectionals coming up, the seating banquet, and all that good stuff. Next week, we're going to come back with, obviously, some early sectional results as play gets underway on Tuesday next week. But we're primarily going to be previewing the big games coming up on the weekend across all the classes involving Wayne Finger Lakes teams. And also next week, Verk, we're going to be giving our all Wayne Finger Lakes first, second, and third teams. We're going to choose our player of the year, and we're not going to each choose for these. We're going to get together, hammer it out, and come up with a consensus Upstate Hoops first, second, third teams, player of the year, and coach of the year.
Oh, I got some homework to do.
Yeah, we definitely are going to have some late nights. Maybe we can work on it when we're taking our kids to Erie, Pennsylvania to a water park this weekend.
Yeah, that could be. We could get some input from some of the other guys.
That's true. Kevin Korzaneski will be there, so it'll be a good think tank. So we'll be coming back with them next week. Special thanks to Madame Maris and Ricky, Generations Bank, and Newark Pilots Baseball. And for our live viewers, we'll be back online in about 10 minutes for the Upstate Orange podcast. So grab a quick snack and stay tuned. Thanks again for joining us on the Upstate Hoops podcast. For my partner Matt Verkey, our producer Jeremy, the President Hunt. I'm Jim Sinacropi. We'll see you back here next week.
Good night.
www.fingerlakes1.com